Hunter x Hunter, episode 137. I'm just glad that we get into this arc. 13th Hunter Chairman election arc. Okay, how many episodes will there be in the arc? Okay, the manga was from 319 for this arc to 339. So I'm guessing, what are we talking about? 5, 6, 7 episodes, something like that? We'll have to see. Now, it's awesome to see the Zodiacs, hear their voices, and watch their personalities interact with each other. And doesn't Kanzai, I'm going to just butcher names as you already know. Doesn't, was it Kanzai look like Hiei? It just looks like it to me. Everyone's pissed, everyone's confrontational, and then comes the rat. Vice Chairman Parston Hill. Sparkling happy chatterbox. And Cowcomp is like, just sit down, okay? I like this guy. I like Cowcomp. Not enough to learn his name properly, but I like him. And Parston walked in with his plan. He seems to know how the Zodiacs will react, how to push their buttons. He offers right in the front, okay, to make Cheadle, the follower, are just going to shorten the name, Botu, the oldest, okay. But he's Cheadle because, like, Cheadle's most likely, most efficient, most likely to get things done. So that tells us a lot about Cheadle. And both give the same reason to turn it down, which is, I'm kind of surprised at, but anyway, is that Parston will just give them a hard time. So they don't really want it, they hate him, but they don't want to deal with Parston either. Okay? So you can just see already, he's like, okay, I'll offer it, and they'll turn it down. And then Monkey keeps calling him a scumbag. And Parston is like, let's just not have an election. Okay? Now this goes against Netero's last will and testament, okay? And it's pretty. And Sheep is like, I'm going to kill you, right? And then from I'll just pronounce it Garu or whatever, puts the snake in the face of Parston, and Parston, he's like an S-level BS machine kicks on. Netero and you are all strong, and you do not understand the weak as I do. I'm just paraphrasing, and Payan is your weak underlings. I'm just paraphrasing this also. Your weak underlings are like slave for you, and they give you kickbacks. You're like the kickback king or something, she called him. And Cowcomp hits him with, okay, so he's kickbacks. He's bringing in all these other hunters just for the votes and everything, right? As his underlings. And Cowcomp's like, the number 18. Is that, sound familiar to you, Parston? And he's like, that's the amount of hunters that's gone missing in the last 3 years. Since you've been vice president, right? Missing as in, disappeared. And he says it's one thing, it's rare for hunters to get killed, but just to disappear? So he's you can see the Cowcomp is like, oh boy. And Gin pops in, he's like, I'm gonna run. And then everyone's like, they don't want him to be chairman any more than Parston. It's not exactly the same. It's just he's going to cause trouble. They hate Parston, but they resent Gin. Okay, his priorities are mainly just to cause trouble, and the whole Parston-Gin rivalry. This is great stuff. Like Parston, right? It doesn't wait. It doesn't. He goes right at him. Your son is hurt. I'm going to paraphrase this too. Should I go visit him? I mean, this is threatening stuff, right? Parston's just threatening him. Right? And then Gin is like, I'm sure he'd love it. He is, I love it. And names on the ballot. I love this, the suggestion that Gin had. So, I mean, and I don't mean the name, I mean the names of the people that are voting, just so people know who voted for who, so they can because it'll be fun for Gin. Okay, to cause trouble. I love that aspect. And then we get the whole thing of the 2 days prior where we get Gin and Beans. This is what made this episode for me. The whole thing that Gin and Beans staged the drawing. Okay, they already had the paper folded up. And Gin was ahead of them. Parston is ahead of everybody. And Gin is ahead of Parston. I love it. Making sure Netero his will would be done. His last will is the way he wanted it. So he put that down. He put it down that way. And Beans is going to buy into it. He knows that he's loyal to Netero, or he was loyal to Netero, and that he would do this. Okay. And since he's doing it in a way that so he won't really get anything out of it, Beans has a certain amount of respect for him because of it. He's not trying to actually get something out of it except get, that maybe a little bit of fun for himself. Beans is a willing accomplice in the whole thing, which is just awesome. And the whole thing of having Rule 5, again, putting it in there, just basically as a bargaining chip, just so and it makes him look self-centered. There seems to be this image that Gin wants people to think he's even more self-centered than he is, and a bigger jerk than he is, to keep a distance, right? And he's playing that game, right? Because he doesn't really want to. I mean, he could just. I like it. I love it. And even even the Beans, he throws it away. He says, "This is how criminals con people. This is nothing special." Okay, Beans, just don't get all emotional on here, kind of deal. And but anyway, Beans goes with it. Gin, Yusuke freaks. He is like Yusuke. I love this guy. He's even more hardcore, to be honest, than Yusuke. He's a grown-up, more hardcore Yusuke, in my opinion. Okay, and rules. Togashi doesn't just have an election. He tells you the time you can start voting. All the rules. He breaks it all down. This guy spends time to figure these things out. And then we get to Hisoka. He comes in with this blank piece of paper. Oh, and he's just looking for people to fight. He's just rating the competition and everything. That's all he's there for. And that's his whole thing. And now we get to the Lumi and Hisoka part of this, which is awesome. And he's sitting there and he's explaining to Hisoka what's happened. The whole thing. Netero's dead. Chimera ants were going, and he's even like, "You should have got into that. You should have been on at least one side or the other. You should have done something on this, right?" And he didn't care. He's like, "Hey, you want to be my manager?" And Hisoka doesn't care. And then it happens, right? Illumi's like, "Gone and kill. Probably gonna die." And it's just like red alert for Hisoka. What is going on? Because he's like, "I want them to mature so I can hunt them down and kill them later," right? And that's his motivation, Hisoka. He's like, "These guys are going to be a real challenge. I want them to mature so I can take them out later." And then we get to the very end, and I guess I've read it, and even people have said Aluka's a boy, and here it's the brother. I didn't know that. I didn't accept it. It just didn't seem that. Okay, Aluka's the brother. Okay, didn't see that. But anyway, once again, I'm just glad that we're getting to see this arc. And as I said, just the last a couple of real quick things. It was manga episode 319 to 339. Figure out how many episodes that's going to be. Just 5, 6, 7, whatever. And it looks like this week, okay, this Thursday, it looks like it's going to be about 12 midnight will be the hangout. Some feedback. Okay, some feedback. I like some feedback. And especially Anthony, because I know you haven't been able to make any of the hangouts lately. It's been a while, so I'd like to get some feedback with you if midnight Eastern is going to be good, because that's probably about when it's going to be. If it has to even be a little bit later, I'd be acceptable to that. All right, awesome. Really want to get into the hangout. I love this episode so much. Until next time, take care.